is not grounded properly. Well, that's the first thing. If you will make greater pyramids, more than 1000 millimeters, all the measurements I will show you now, they are of course different. But now I want to show you a pyramid with 1000 millimeters, and if you're interested in the formula to make some greater ones, you will find them in the internet in the next few days. Well, the most important thing we make now is our so-called reactor. Please sorry for the very bad specification of this item, but I don't know a better name for this. This is the part where the energy is getting produced, and it's one of the most important parts inside the whole pyramid. So you have to work a little bit careful, and please give care for your health. If you work with machines, I have to say it, be careful, don't spend your blood for this pyramid. Well, first time we need a little bit of copper tube with a diameter of 29-30 millimeters and a length of 29 centimeters. It's a normal copper tube you can get everywhere in all the hardware stores, even in your country. The second piece we will use, these are some, I don't know the name in English, these are some small pieces you can weld copper tubes inside, and in this case you have some screw inside, so it's a normal component I think you can get on all plumber stores. What we do is we want to make the reactor of this small piece of copper, and of course you can make it a little bit slower or a little bit greater, but it's very important to follow the steps I will show you, because you can increase or decrease the amount of produced energy enormous. It's a very important thing to tell you now in this moment. The most things of the pyramid technology, they are not real catchable into the law of physics, into the law of electronic, into the law of electric. So some things will sound really stupid to you. And most of the experiments people made with my pyramid, they start because the people think too technic. That's one of the major grounds, because the people think they have to follow all laws of physics, they have to follow all laws of logic. But please, if you make the pyramid now, forget all your know-how about technology and make what I will show you. Some things, they are very stupid and sinless, but you will see on the end they will give you a sin. And I try to answer the most questions. Where is the energy coming from, and what happens? I will answer all to your questions, but first give me a chance to show you all I know about this technology. Well, first we have to weld this piece on this side, because we want to make here, for me, so-called reactor, and we need this small piece here. On the other side, I will show you we need another copper tube, and we will cut it now. But I will not show you. I will not show you to cut the copper tube, because I think you know it yourself how it's working. To get the small copper tube into the great copper tube, we have to drill here a little bit. That's because this small parts, I hope you can see it, they have a small ring inside. So if you weld some copper tube here inside, you cannot put it through. But in our case, it's very necessary to put it through. So we have to widen the hole a little bit. So if this is done, we can try with our copper tube. Now it's a little bit too great, it's too long, we have to cut it. Okay, so if this is possible, the next step is done. Well, Next step. We have the great tube with 29 centimeters, the small tube with a diameter of 10 millimeter and a length of 36 centimeters, 360 millimeters. And these two parts of reducers. Everything here you can get in every plumber, in every hardware shop. Well, the next very important part is to put all kinds of oxidations away from the copper. Oxidation now in this phase would be very bad for the whole construction, and I don't know why, but I can show you in a machine who is running 2.5 years, there will not appear any oxidation if the pyramid is running. But if you don't clean the oxidation before you start the pyramid, I don't know why, but it decreases the power of approximately 10 to 15%. And this is on a dimension of 1000 millimeters. With a small pyramid, it's very, very much amount. So I use some steel wool to make the tube clean. I never tried it to make it with chemicals, because I am the good old fan of mechanic cleaning. The better you can make it, the better it will work. Looks very good for the moment, and it makes a lot of dirt on the hand. Next part, before we weld all the system, we have to make some small holes for the wires to put in and out. In this case, we have the problem. We need a little bit more on one side of the small coppertube tube, so you can use 2 centimeters, 25 millimeters, and on the other side you can use 10 millimeters. Now it's very important to mark the holes where you have to make 2 small holes inside of this tube, and I will keep the line here straight on the line where this piece is ending. So I will mark it. Okay, and on the other side I will mark it too. There are some better possibilities to mark it, but you saw my shack is very poor, and also my tools are poor. So, okay, the next thing we need, 2 small holes. Okay, 3 minutes and 2 bloody fingers later, we had 2 holes now in this small copper tubes. The diameter of the hole is not that important. I used a driller with 5 millimeters. On the end, we have to seal the holes, but I will show you how to do this. Well, these are the most important parts. Okay, next thing is to weld this tube to this fitting. It's very important that the hole here is in the center of this piece. Well, after half an hour of searching for some fire, don't burn your fingers. The next important thing is to make the coil. For the coils you have plenty of possibilities. I will keep a normal installation wire for house installation. It's a normal copper wire. It's a diameter of 1.5 millimeters. I don't want to make promotion for the company, but maybe you will see it. There are 100 meters inside, 1.5 millimeters thick, and the color, of course, is black. The color doesn't play any role. I keep only the cheap one. The next part I want to show you, I have to check if it's very hot. It's a little bit too hot now. The next very important part of the pyramid construction is the winding. You can use all kinds of wires. You can use thicker wires with less windings, but you can use also thinner wires with higher windings. And I found out the great difference between the different wire types is the amount of voltage you will get. So if you keep very thin wires, and you make very much windings, you will get more voltage, but very, very less amperes. If you keep some thicker wires, you get less volts, but of course more amperes. So in our demonstration we want to construct a pyramid which is producing between 14 to 16 volts, and I need a minimum of 1.5 ampere, so I decided to keep the 1.5 millimeter wire. Now it's a little bit tricky to construct the piece. The first very important thing is to put the wire here in the inside of the tube without damaging the insulation. It's very important that you will not damage the insulation, so it's a very good idea to put out everything sharp out of the small hole we drilled. And it's very important, absolutely very important, that you start with the side where you have more tube, because you will see on the end of the winding it's a little bit tricky to get the other side of the wire here through, and so it's better to make the great deal before you wind your coil. So this can use a few minutes, and it's very important that you don't ruin the insulation of the wire. So this could be a little bit tricky, and I don't want you to laugh with me, so I will come back if this impossible part is made. Well, on the third attempt